Check, check. Quick sound check. Can everybody hear me loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
Check. Coach Jay, who can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome stuff. Welcome, everyone. Happy FOMC day. Hopefully, you made it out. Your account made it out alive. Audio, video is good. Thank you, Andrew, as always. Welcome to At the Buzz, our market recap. The goal of this segment is is to review what happened in the markets for the day. May talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity, see how we could have taken advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. Getting the audio levels right now, so we should be okay now, chat. This is our first time meeting. I'm Coach Jay. I've been a Topstep performance coach since June of 2023. Been trading for the past 13 years and in the futures markets for the past 6. And that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep for 2 years. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share experience, some wisdom, and perhaps help you become a better trader.
Awesome stuff. You are all our chat, our audience. We want to thank you for joining us every day of the week. Let us know how you did today. Were you up on the day, down on the day? Maybe you stayed flat for the day and just watched the fireworks. Or maybe you took advantage of some volatility in the markets, which we like. We're going to talk about opportunity in the charts. There definitely is some. I think on days like today, it's important to manage risk, but that's important every day. Uh, as far as news goes, Coach, we had some earnings, Disney and Uber. I'll take a look at what those numbers are. I don't have them right in front of me, but I think those kind of took a backseat to everything else. Uh, we had the FOMC rate decision. Of course, Fed kept rates the same. That was to be expected. We didn't really see
96% chance.
96% chance. My audio is still lower. Should be good now. Move my mic. There we go. Fed kept rates the same, 4.5%, which was to be expected. And again, we have more volatility in unplanned headlines. Right after the press conference, which we did see some volatility, the market's moving around, which is to be expected. We got some comments that the uh, President Trump was going to rescind global chip curbs amid AI restrictions. Um, Reading through this headline, we were just reading it before we got on here. It really happened right before the close. The changes are taking shape as President Trump is making a trip to the Middle East and basically removing restrictions from chips being sold globally. Apparently, NVIDIA had objected to that rule and was pushing the US to kind of rescind it. And that's what we're seeing here. So, if you're wondering what that spike was towards the end of the session, that's where that came from. Again, unplanned news being more important than Fed rate decisions right now. Uh,
Well,
any
that is the dominant news, as we saw last night after we closed, and the market opened last night that there would be discussions, probably opening round negotiations between China and the United States.
Yeah,
Uh,
this is
and that set
go
the
ahead, Coach.
range for the day.
Yeah, it did set the range for the day. We'll look at the charts. What's really interesting about those comments, right? The comments, if you didn't see them, basically said that Treasury Secretary was going to start talking to China this week about making a deal. Then we see later on in the day, and this is where we've kept saying there's talks of a deal. There's talks of a deal, but there hasn't been a deal yet. Because later on, the comments were these talks are going to be preliminary. So, you know,
It just brings up a great quote by the legendary baseball broadcaster Harry Carey.
mm,
Talk is cheap, but whiskey costs money.
right.
So in our case,
Yeah,
all it is talk.
right. It's kind of maybe it's kind of holding the. It seems like it's like holding the markets at bay. It's like okay, no, 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 we're gonna talk. We'll talk about it. I promise. But uh, at some point, you got to have the hard conversation, and if you don't, things just go the way they were. 35 different markets we can trade with top step accounts, not just the equities. And today, to the downside, we had RBOB gasoline futures down 2.12%, silver down 2.41%, and copper, our biggest percentage mover to the downside, down 3.21%. To the upside, we had soybean meal up 0.72%, Micro Bitcoin futures up 1.42%, and natural gas, our biggest percentage mover to the upside, at 4.85%. Crude oil down 1.98. The S&P is up zero point 0.4. Gold down 1.39%, and the Nasdaq up 0.41%. I have a Nasdaq 30-minute chart up here, coach. What are we
I
looking
can't
at?
see the charts right now.
You can't see the charts. Let me share them with you. All right, should be good now.
All right. Well, I see that big candle from the opening last night,
Yeah,
and I see 90% of today's action in that candle. We settled under it for about 5 minutes, found support, rallied back into the middle. Um, I don't know if you were there for last night's open, but it was quite dramatic. Um, but once again, it wasn't on great volume, and it never got over that high.
100% right, coach. I was actually doing a class. We started right at 6 p.m. Eastern, right at the Globex Open. This range, we mapped it out on a 30-minute candle, pretty much a 3-minute candle.
Yeah.
Market opened up. There was like a 25 tick spread in the Nasdaq, and most of this range happened. That's 300 points. One of the things the class we did last night, and if anyone's here from that 150K subscriber class that we did, we talked about sustainability of volume. So this was a huge push in a short amount of time. There was no orders on the order books. 4,000 contracts traded in this 3-minute candle. And if we look at it the rest of the day, we just stayed there. Uh, where, this is a knee jerk reaction to a headline that's really not even news. And after that, there's no one that's convinced enough to continue buying it after this move. And we see the markets kind of fade right back into it. Uh, and closing right around 50%, still this 20,000 level in the NASDAQ, acting like a magnet. We're trading around it. Uh, but yeah, like you said, coach, that was the range for the day.
You know what's interesting? As we look at the VWAP from that opening last night,
Hmm.
all day, we were during the day with the real volume, we were under it
Yep.
until the few last hour and a half. Um, really complete indecision. Um, and I believe it's going to continue that way until Sunday night or Monday morning on the opening. If there's no progress or if we see any kind of it's going to be 1,000% tariff now kind of thing. Either way, we're probably I don't believe there's going to be a big move here.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Equities kind of seem stuck. That being said, there is opportunity in this. I know today was FOMC day. So maybe, we were expecting a little bit of consolidation prior to a rate decision. So let's go down to a shorter time frame. Look at the 3-minute opening range. Why does that look like that? Touching my drawing. So what's going on here? Hold on, coach. I'll be right back.
All right.
Gotta knock at the door.
Okay. Well,
Here,
you're
I'll leave you
knocking
with
at
a
the door.
3-minute chart.
All right. Is that the 3-minute opening?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Um. Wow. Looking at that, we did have a false breakout to the top. I know. I bought it. Um. And VWAP, when VWAP left the range, one of those rare times it failed. That was the high of the day at that time. Um, and there was decent buying, but once again, this is Fed day also. Found some sellers. Um, Interestingly, VWAP did not leave that opening range. Um, so more, it goes back to indecision trading, both sides of the opening. Um, We did have a J trade in the middle of the day, um, on the lows of the day, um, which held and gave a great opportunity, um, to buy.
Back.
Yeah, I was just noting a J trade. Like, yeah, boy, it's like a magnet for you. Just-
Right there.
oh, right there.
So yeah, there was a couple. So there was one here which had the potential to be right. If we look later in the day, I think I did take this. No, so Jack took this long in the S&P. Uh, I did take a short here in the S&Ps, looking for some continuation just because we didn't get that immediate reversal. But we can see in the volume pattern, it kind of slowed down. And once we closed above, we eventually got it. This one took forever. But that's kind of to be expected, especially lower volume coming into FOMC. But one of the things we talked about with the class we did last night on volume is when there's higher volume, the market just moves easier. And budget FOMC, whatever it is, technically this pattern still works.
Yeah, I'd rather not know the news.
Right.
I mean, and I'm completely serious about that. It's a technical pattern. Something caused that to make. And by the way, it did make another a new low. It ticked,
Yeah.
but it didn't close, and that's why I pay attention to the close. Um, but once it closed above, went right back to the middle of the range. Is that to the tick? Why, yes, it is.
Yep. To the tick. 19,745. And again, what are we measuring here? High volume, right? Whether it's Powell speaking, whether it's and maybe I measured it a little bit wrong, but again, this is the Nasdaq. Nothing's perfect, but within 2 points, that's a target hit. Uh, and again, we said it about a month ago, Coach. A technical approach to fundamentally driven markets.
Absolutely, it's execution.
Still got to trade,
Yeah, we're not investors, we're traders.
right?
Um, what was let's frame out the risk in two ways. If you buy this, you're going to risk the range of that candle.
It's a lot of points. It's 116 points.
All right, on a micro, it's $245.
Yep.
That, by the way, that's the risk. I
Right.
mean, if you don't like that risk, don't take the trade. But do you get 2 to 1?
You did. Yes, you did. You got a 2 to 1
Now
right there.
that's the patience of a saint.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not Saint Paul. He lived a long time ago. But
Just Paul.
just Paul. Coach Paul for
There you
you,
go.
sir. But just measuring that out. I mean that happens more. Definitely more than 50% of the time. I don't have the exact number, but it's a higher probability than 50%.
Shout out to the house account. Got in a long trade. I know they took it off for break even. I know Dolby's kind of going back and forth with his battle of taking trades to break even. Um, I do it sometimes too, but I hear Coach Paul in the back of your head: accept the risk or don't take the trade. They had a long here and held on to it. I think in Power Hour. What I really like about this, Coach Paul, where we had this close here, I could understand a trader not taking this trade because the
Yeah.
press conference was still going on at this time. If you're aware of the news, right? So if you're watching it and you see this technical pattern, but you say, you know what, hey, maybe I don't want to take it because we have news. Somebody could ask him a question and that the answer, algos pick up and then just sell us off. I get it. Once he stopped talking and we had that volume continue to go, you can wait. You can wait. Maybe you might miss this. But
Wow. Looking at that, that's a better trade right there. because you have VWAP leaving the range.
Right. Right. Yeah. In this case, if you waited a little bit, you do have VWAP leaving that range, and you could take it. I understand not taking this one. I didn't take this one. I was sitting on Topstep TV, and I took a short micro gold trade. Uh, but again, technically, pattern still plays out. We basically just came back and checked the Asia session highs and sold right back off into the range. Let's take a look at the S&P. I just want to point out that same candle as well. Um, the other option, you don't have to trade the Nasdaq. You could trade the S&Ps. Uh, it's up to me a little bit more of a comfortable trade, but same technical pattern sets up and it plays out. Where are we on the daily in the S&Ps?
Sitting on a 50 precariously.
Huh.
But it is on the other side, and this is going to be a clash of the time frames here. That 20 is moving up quickly. The 20 crosses the 50. It's gonna, good. It's a good technical sign that this can continue.
I mean, it held it pretty perfectly. That 20 moving average is at 5601. The lows of the day today were 5596. So pretty good support there. It's been that way for a couple of days now. Still trading inside this April 2nd range, pretty much right in the middle of that April 2nd range. Um, Market's got to make some decisions. Like you said, coach, are we really going to move before we said it, before today? Are we going to see directional action before FOMC? We didn't, and we got FOMC out, and that didn't do it either. So again, the market is waiting on some type of next step in this trade war, is what it looks like.
Yeah. It's going to be a interesting weekend. Sunday night will be most likely a big night.
Yes, it will be. All right. Anything else on the equities before we move on?
Nothing else, technically speaking.
Cool. What did you click on to get the quotes on Top Step X? All right. So you bring up the quote board. If you add a component, you have, where is it? Quotes. You have this here. It starts off blank, and you have to manually. I'm gonna maybe submit this as a feature request where I can just go add symbol and select all, because you have to manually go through one by one and select them. Make sure you save it once you do this, because it only takes about 6 minutes to do, but if there's
Feels like an hour.
it is the most tedious thing I've ever had to do. And when you delete it, I almost want to give up. I'm like, just like, you know what, I don't even need it. But we use it in the show every day, so I had to rebuild it. Make sure you save your layout once you build that, but you do have to add them manually.
Hey, coach, while you're there, can we show them how to create a link for those quotes to the charts?
So you can't link the quotes to the charts right now, which would be my second feature request, right? In certain platforms, you have, you could click on an icon and then it changes it over. You can't do that. I do think though that TopStep X is probably, and I realized this when I was, not trading on TopStep TV, so I trade in Quantower all the time, and I wanted to switch products that I was looking at, and I just tried to type it in, and it didn't work. Right, where Tops X, I can just type GC and go to gold, which is pretty quick. That's, to me, that's quicker than looking for it in the watch list. Um, Other platforms don't have that, so I had to go in Quantower and set up hotkeys to switch assets. Right, so Shift E switches to the S&P, Shift N switches to the Nasdaq. Uh, but then again, I had to, set up hotkeys for an hour, where this platform makes it pretty easy. But it would be nice to get a watch list that's linked to your charts.
Hey, quick answer, quick question here. Rippin' Rich YouTube asked why Sunday. Well, this weekend is the initial negotiations between China and United States will begin. So we'll have something out Sunday night, some kind of comment on both sides, and that should be before we open Sunday night.
Good stuff. All right. Anything else on the equities? I got a gold chart up here.
No,
All right. Let's take a look at gold on a daily. What are we seeing?
the hell the correction. Um, Violent move on the opening. And we were talking about. I still like gold here. Um, but if we look at the, let's go to the half hour from last night on the same news that had that engulfing candle. And hey, what happened?
Trying to figure out what's going on with my rectangle. Cool. It's like something crazy right now. What is this?
Yeah, it goes backwards instead of forward.
Charts only go to the right. Come on.
Stand right. There you go.
Colors are all messed up.
The demons
Somebody was in here playing around with my charts.
looking for J trades.
Blame them for all my bad trades. All right, here we go.
So yeah, that was the range kind of broke. But look at, I found that very interesting. That all came in off that news, didn't recover, but VWAP didn't leave the range. Now we settled near the bottom. This, I think, this tonight's open once again is going to bring some opportunity. Um, Also looking at that half, but let's go to a 3 or a 5 or minute from the opening last night.
They did it a little more. Took a little longer than the equities did to finish whatever business they were doing, but
Well, there was a classic
urgency.
urgency, and that was the highest. So think about it, and that was the highest volume. So there was a seller at the at the get go, in that first 10 minutes, um, and it didn't recover. VWAP staying, leaving immediately. Um, Never recovered after, I mean, literally, look at that candle leaving. That's a classic urgency trade. I'm glad I was looking to buy it as we were talking.
So I want to talk about that a little bit, Coach, because we got Cajun LA in the chat saying, got cooked on gold last night. We've been saying, and anything we say here is for educational purposes only. Sometimes we might let you guys know how we're looking at a market to potentially take a trade. Uh, I think we've both kind of been saying I don't really want to be short gold. Um, I want to long it, but when I have that higher time frame picture in mind, on a shorter time frame, it still has to present itself, right? Especially for a day trade. I'm long in a gold swing trade, which I have a little bit more time on. But for a day trade, just because I want to buy it, it might not be the time to buy it. Um, so, like you said, Coach, you were looking to buy this market coming into it. What kept you out of the trade? Because that could be considered a winning trade,
Um, well, I trade one side of a market
right?
now because I am raised as a swing trader. Um, Now, if from a perspective of a day trader, I have no bias, but I'm looking to buy it. And we saw that it was sold with high volume, and that first 3 minutes is the high. And to answer a question, urgency is when we anchor VWAP to that opening. VWAP left the range with in the second candle.
Yep.
So when we think about VWAP, it's volume weighted average price. So when I talk about urgencies, we look at that, they're still selling after that big candle. It didn't go away. It's urgency. They kept on hitting the bid from my terminology.
And just real quick, I'm
Um,
going to switch back over. The difference with the Nasdaq last night, we had this 3-minute candle and then no urgency. Like they got all their business done and there was nothing else to do.
Great example, because one of the reasons I didn't sell it too as a day trade, I was busy getting out of my short. In the Nasdaq, the S&P, where it was, oh, the longs in the euro was not a good opening.
Yeah.
But that's the risk I take, and that's on swing trades. But here, if I want to, and I'm just saying, this is probably comes from my time on the floor. My mentor Pete Stottlemyre told me just to take one side of a market and stay out of trouble. I mean, you can, like here now, as a day trader, that's an opportunity. So why? Right off the bat, if I see that, I will take that trade 10 times out of 10.
Yep. Coach, we got a question here from Rich Layton. Pretty good question. Says for the overnight, you normally look at the 30-minute. What drove using the 3-minute last night? So for me, Rich, I didn't catch this trade. Um, and like we've normally said, we use the 3-minute. Sorry, the 30-minute and the overnight. This is what I've said. You use the 30-minute in the overnight. I think you said it as well, Coach. And the 3-minute when there's a potential for higher volume. Is there a case to use the 3-minute in the overnight? Potentially. It's not something that I default to, so I would not have caught this trade. I think it really depends on how that Globex session opens, right? If I'm sitting at my charts and last night I was sitting at the charts getting ready to do a class and someone in the chat said, hey, Percent is supposed to be meeting with China. In that case, it might be worth it to use the 3-minute because there's a
Yeah,
specific catalyst driving this move. Go ahead, coach.
no, finish, because I just wanted to bring something else up.
So there was a catalyst driving this move, which might make sense to go shorter time frame because then when we see what happens afterwards is after that first 30 minutes, then it kind of dies out. But again, it's a specific catalyst. Do you? I feel like those are kind of one offs where we like to say, kind of keep things the same. Whatever you use, keep it the same. Because sometimes you're going to look at a 3-minute. Well, you may get this one opportunity last night where you're like, oh, that 3-minute would have been perfect. And then you search for it again the next day and that 3-minute range is the range for the next 3 hours. So if you're going to switch between the two, I think know what the characteristics of a good trade looks like, and then if it presents itself, take it. But for me, I'm just going to stick with the 30. Go ahead, coach.
Okay, let's change. It's a very good question. Now, I will, on the half hour. This is an anomaly. So we had explosions the across the board. With that, you look at the shorter term. Um, you could change that to a 5-minute.
Same story.
Same story. Why? It's a really good question. So when it's busy, like there was a percentage move.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, that's a 3/4% move in 3 minutes.
so let's say I was long gold and I saw that, but I'm out.
Mm,
I'm out, and because that's ugly. We've seen this enough. I know that I'm out. I might not want to get short, but if I'm scanning for opportunities or I'm a gold trader, it's a day trader. All right. Let's look at the day before on the 3-minute or 5-minute on the opening. There was some urgency there.
a little bit.
So if we take that sell and measure our risk, I think it's a 2-to-1 trade on the sell side.
Yep, you got it. About 2 hour trade, but you got it.
Um, Now let's look at the half hour. It's a different story.
Hmm.
So, um, Mostly at night. Now, it's a very, this brings up another question. Gold is moving in Asia. There's volume coming in. It's
Yep.
it's a complete different story than US equities with volume. So maybe it does pay to go to a short term in gold because gold is right now at all time highs and right near it, and its the volume's coming in. So with that, I'm going to look at both.
Coach. Yeah, it's a good point. I want to look at this right here, this 30-minute candle, uh, which was, and shout out to our chat again for calling this out during slow markets the other day. Is it worth it to look at a shorter time frame, like you just said, Coach, when we know Asia may be aggressively trading gold? Here's that Shanghai Gold Exchange open, Shanghai Exchange open. On the 3-minute, we catch that urgency. On the 30-minute, still do. Maybe you sacrifice a little bit of trade location. So kind of hard to say. So there's like a perfect way. Oh, that's actually happy I just did that. See where our low is today?
Yeah, right back there.
Interesting.
And
All right.
now, whatever we do, I would over time though, especially in equities, I'll use the half hour. Currencies also, but there's gold is trading and there's volume. It's interesting that um gold has become the new go-to currency. It seems to me. Um, but that's a discussion for another time.
Right. Anything else on gold, Coach?
Nothing else in gold. One of Freddie Z. Coach Paul, I took your challenge to block out the P&L numbers, and my intraday psychology has changed at 180 degrees. Staying in trades longer and finding my stops are stronger than I thought. Thanks. That's great to hear. I'm glad that works for you because that helps you trade your trading plan. And it's a struggle when you're trading money. Um, Good. Keep that up.
Put up. Sean C, do I ever use volume to spot reversals? Every day. Every day, Sean C. Every day.
Was that a setup?
That might have been a setup. I think Chauncey's just Chauncey might be trolling. You're here every day, you know that. Uh Sometimes you go with the momentum, sometimes it's a reversal.
Good point.
Crude oil. Let's look at it on a daily. What are we looking at here?
No, not over the 20-day moving average. We got close to it um, last night, but still in a downtrend. In the range, though. Um, wow, we're in the same price we started for the last week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just 5 trading days, about a week.
Coach Hoop, when does crude roll over?
Oh boy, that's a good question. Early, it's like the earliest one.
Coach Hoop did just send me he sent it in the chat also a link, said that we may be seeing some early rollover action in gold, maybe seeing some volume coming into future contracts. So take a look at that as well.
But going back, let's see what the half hour. So we talked about this. We were above 200 yesterday, and we had that nice rally. And there's a half hour and a crude. Um, Short-lived rally. Wow, that crude, I really didn't notice that last night. That never left the range in a half hour.
Nope.
And look what happened when it came under it and under the 20 bar moving average.
20 bar moving average, this yellow line right here. VWAP
Yeah.
crossed below that and night night. You talked about this setup
Yeah.
in our post show meetings sometimes.
Yeah. Um, so wow. So let's look at it on a 3 or 5 minute
You want to mark
last
out?
night.
You want to mark that cross? Mark
Yeah.
that with a yellow line. Actually, it's going to be the.
The thick yellow line.
Don't you love how math works? On the 30-minute chart, 20 moving average is the 200 moving average on the 3-minute chart. Gotta love math. All right, what are we looking at here, Coach?
All right. So let's frame out that opening range as we were talking about. Someone was talking about it. So we had a big move last night. We had urgency, and we got 2 to 1.
Yep.
I think 2 to 1.
Let's see. Your risk here, if you bought it right above that high, let's say you didn't get a perfect entry, you had about 50 ticks of risk. You got about a 1.5 at the high. Oh, sorry. Yeah, 1.5, 1.5.
So it didn't get 2 to 1. So you carried it through. You could scratch that trade because why? It went comes back, or you take the loss.
Yep.
So I don't mean if you either way, that broke out with urgency, and now we come back under VWAP into the range. Um, boy, that was close, but that was a losing trade. Well, let's just keep it straight up.
Yep.
On the half hour, we didn't get urgency, did we?
No, that VWAP never actually left the range on the half hour.
All
It
right.
did. It did up at these highs, but this is the one I'm like, that's iffy.
Well, let's put the 20-day or 20 bar. All right.
That's iffy there.
Now, that is hey, they're not all winners.
Right.
But let's say that's iffy. That was a huge bar.
This 30-minute here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the risk on the half hour bar?
80 ticks.
And what's the ATR?
On a 30-minute, 60. Sorry, 30-minute, 30 ticks, 2 times, 60 ticks.
So it's less on it. So
Yep.
if you want to do it, take 2 ATR risks, you lost 60 to make 120. All right, well, it lost.
Times you
But
lose.
did you get out good?
I mean, if you see this afterwards, yeah,
Yeah, you
I would
got
be
out
happy
good.
taking this loss and
All
getting married
right.
to this trade. 100%.
So, um, but I'll tell you now, if VWAP gets under the 20 bar moving average, whatever time frame, I'm out. What is it saying? The short term volume is doing what?
Slowing down.
It's slowing down. It's not carrying it. So on the 20, you're the one who pointed this out. Look at yesterday. It was like a buying point.
Yep.
Bounced off how many times? Never closed below it.
Right.
So
We
it
started to
closed.
close below with some volume. That was it.
So something to watch, and I believe it did it in the 5 minute and different time frames. Um, if they don't want it, get out. I mean,
Don't like it. I
I-
don't like it.
coach,
What's up?
got to learn, got to take losses.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Got to learn how to take a loss. And it's okay to, as long as it's measured. Those unmeasured ones, those are the ones we got to worry about. That, those hurt. Those
So
hurt.
looking back into the daily for tomorrow, we're under the 200, much the same. Looks like a range trade.
Range trade for sure. Player has a comment of the day. You're the winner. Only 7% of the people in here have hit that like button. You like the show? Like the show. It's easy and beneficial for us. And it definitely is. We appreciate it. If you can do us a favor, hit that thumbs up button. It's funny, player. That was a reminder to myself to hit it as well because I haven't. Um, but if you like what we're doing here, if we've helped you with your trading journey, if you have any questions for us, send them over. We try to answer as many as possible. If you have any other markets that we want to talk about, let us know. Hogan JD 1 minute trade was good. Did they take it in crude oil today? Let's take a look at the 1 minute opening range. We've been reviewing that one a little bit. Shout out to the opening call guys, taking the most mechanical automatic trade on Topstep TV. 1 minute opening range. It breaks. Took a little while, 16 minutes. Wait 16 minutes. Never invalidated that trade. A beautiful thing. What was the risk? 20 ticks. They don't set it exactly at the high. Give it a little bit of space. 20 ticks.
Is that two ATRs?
That's 10
I
ATRs.
know one. No, no, the risk.
On a 1 minute, that's 4 ATRs.
All right,
4 ATRs on a 1 minute.
nice trade.
Great trade. And 2 ATRs would have survived at least a 2 to 1. Came back, checked the opening range. Where was VWAP at the time? Below the range. This to me, this is such a. Anytime I see something like this, I try to get into this because the way I think about it is if the market is going to trend lower. Now, do I know that this is going to continue lower? I don't. But if we get a quick move into the opening range, we actually saw this with the equities yesterday. Quick move back into a range, but volume is lower. Looking at this is an opportunity to get a better price than whoever sold here. Maybe I sold against this VWAP,
Well,
right?
they had an exhaustive buying candle there. We had a sell or buy failure. Look at that volume.
Yep, three, and this is on a 1 minute because we were looking at the 1 minute opening range, but 3 bar reversal, Dakota style there. We got the volume exhaustion at the opening range with volume lower. Beautiful thing, beautiful thing. Bill Fafo says, "Is there a specific reason you use 0, 50, and 100 on the fibs?" I just want to know the high, low, and 30%. Sorry, high, low, and 50% of any high volume candle. You'll see anywhere I anchor one of these is to some type of high volume on the chart. So I just want to know high, low, 50% because we see often that the market comes back to that 50% level. There was another question: how do you set up the green and black box? Sid, I'm using a fib tool. 3 icons down on the drawing tools, you have GAN and fib tools. First one is fib retracement. You can use the hotkey, it's Alt F. And that's why you don't see me clicking anything. I'm just hitting Alt F because I draw 100 of these a day. Uh, I need to make it quicker. If I could just blink and one shows up exactly where I wanted to, that'd be even better. Might have to talk to Elon. But I have 0, 50%, and 100% checked, right? The normal fib tool is going to have all of these intermediate levels. If you're a fib retracement trader, you're going to use those. For me, I just need to know where 50% is. All right. Any other markets we want to go over, Coach Paul? What's on your scouting
Um,
report?
well, let's look at the Swiss franc.
See? Let's All right.
So let's start with the daily. We're talking about buying this, and I did. We're still holding that 20. Look how tight those ranges are.
Yeah.
Um,
Do the currencies have rollover too? I'm sure they yes,
yeah,
answer your own question here, Jay. Yes, they do.
quarter, any
When
future does.
yeah,
It's quarterly.
quarterly. Okay, got you.
It's just it's like days before the S&P.
Got you, got you.
But last night, and look at the half hour.
And on the daily, we're holding whatever this high volume is right here. One of those volume spikes.
Yep, and look at it. It closed. Yeah. Now, opportunity to buy it on the half hour. No, but if we go to, let's go to the 5 minute.
Quick sell.
It was his quick sell breakout. I think he got 2 to. I'm pretty sure he got 2 to 1.
2 ATRs would have been 160. Did we get 320? Yes, you did. Yep. Nice 2 to 1 trade.
So I was looking to buy it. I used a half hour, but I was long on a swing trade that I got stopped out um, in the first half an hour, right near the lows. But it still looks good to me. That 20-day is still moving higher. It hasn't changed. We're trading around a knee jerk reaction. Um, I'm looking for this market to move higher. The fact that it broke on that news,
Yeah.
well, it would strengthen the dollar. But boy, it was all over the place today. Um, but on a longer term, I still want to buy dips.
One of the things we don't talk about often, where I feel like we give a lot of love and focus to trend traders, right? Where we're trying to identify a trend. Something like this, where we see that extreme volume in a short period of time and VWAP flatten out. If you're a range trader, this is exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Exactly what you want. We don't focus on it a lot. A lot. We do talk about, if VWAP is flat, probably going to be a range. For my trading style, I usually stay out of this. But a lot of times we'll see this on news where we get some unsustainable volume that happens in a short period of time with no follow through, and we can see it. The lack of urgency is a sign as well, where this VWAP stays in the range, and this is a 30-minute chart. So we're talking about 4 hours here where we consolidated at the low. But on any time frame, right? If you see something like this, the opportunity to trade back to the other extreme of the range. For me, if I take this trade, normally conservative target is going to be 50% of this, and then ultimate target the other side. This happens after, great. But this is it's a setup as well. Not something I take all the time, so we don't talk about it all the time, but it's pretty good. Why don't you anchor your VWAP at the low or the high of the volume bar? Logistically, it just takes too much to do that. Uh, I get what you're saying, right? Where I could anchor here, and then, but I would have to then go in and say that this was at the low. Could do that and see the support, right? Or what if I anchored it at the high? I just don't want to do that every single time. But you could, right? This made the low of the day. You can see it held as a support the entire way up. So there's definitely validity to that. Um, but for me, my is just set to the standard settings. But Rodrigo, if you do that, and it works for you, keep doing it.
Boy, it worked beautifully last night.
Yes. Yes, it did.
Thanks for bringing that up.
I mean, Rodrigo asked me a week from now if I'm still not doing that. I'm okay adjusting, but that looks pretty clean.
um, no, let's do that. Something that exploded. Like, let's do that to the Nasdaq or S&P
Uh,
because of the high. Anchor it to the high
the
because we
high of
had a
this.
big move. Yeah, we had a big move.
I'm not that
Well,
old of a
you're
dog, but
and I'm a much older dog, and I'm gonna watch that for something a big move like that. That's I kind of like that idea, not because it just comes out. Let's do it to gold.
so okay. So then here's the question. Or it would be here, right, on gold. This candle that was the open. Yeah, I mean,
Let's do it to the low.
so if you guys want an insight of what happens when Coach Paul and I get off these calls, sometimes it's something like this, where
All day.
here's the low. And Rodrigo says, "Thanks. I was just wondering why you picked the midpoint." So shout out to Brian Shannon. It's the reason why I use anchored VWAP as much as I do. Book is somewhere on the shelf behind me. But in the book, he suggests using open, high, low, close divided by 4. But here's the thing about indicators: there are options for a reason. There is no right or wrong way. Do whatever you want to do. If it helps you make a trading decision, it helps you make a trading decision.
So
Rodrigo,
while we're at it,
go ahead.
do the close. Do it on the close. To me, because that's my favorite. I mean, to me, that's where the cards are dealt.
Flat
A little
line.
more random. Flatline. Interesting.
Yeah.
We
Come
got
on.
a new toy.
uh, yeah, very interesting. And again, it's VWAP. So what it's tracking here, if I do it to the high, it's just tracking high of these candles, right? The high price of these candles. Um, are we in a trade? Duct tape. The markets are closed, so we cannot trade them. Or well, markets are still at markets are closed now, but Topstep trades need to be closed by 3:10 Central Time. I saw your question. I'm new to trading. Just got my Topstep account. As a new trader, what is the best advice to give me? If you're a completely new trader, whatever concept you have of making money, take it and put it to the side for now. Just for now, not forever, but for now. And I'm assuming that you're completely new to doing this. You have to learn a strategy that you're comfortable executing and understanding. Uh, if you're looking at these charts and saying, "All right, I bought an account, I should be making money," I think you're doing yourself a disservice. Uh, but don't overcomplicate a strategy. Learn a couple of rules, 4 steps for you to take a trade, and consistently take that trade over time. Sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're going to lose. Understand that losing does not mean that you're a bad person. Doesn't mean you're stupid. Doesn't mean that the strategy doesn't work because there's no strategy that works 100% of the time. So find something that you're comfortable with. You can execute day in and day out repeatedly. Understand that there's a percentage. Try to figure out what the percentage is of the times that it doesn't work, and learn how to manage your risk. That's my advice, Coach. What do you say?
Much the same is I don't know if you have a trading plan. That's number one in the hierarchy. And part of that trading plan is how much you can lose. Managing, remember, you're not managing a trade, you're managing your account. Um, it- and that account consists of how much, you know, you can lose. So if it's a 3,000 is the most you can lose, you have to start budgeting out. Focus on the risk management for the first 6 months. as you're developing, if you're new and you can keep an account open, the same account for, let's say, 2 to 3 months, you're on the path. Um, it's important that you understand how to manage the account. That's your focus. So there's plenty of trading plans. Read a few books. I would say read Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. Um, Very important. It's more than a trading plan. It's a mindset. Um, Help you develop. Don't. Second, what Coach Jay said. I know I suffered from it when I first started trading. Is the gold stars in your eyes? Um, that's trading a dream, but we have to trade the market. So just get a simple trading plan, whatever it is. Focus on risk management. That means don't go swinging for home runs all the time. Um, and if you can keep that account alive for 2 months to start, you're on your way.
Good stuff, Coach. Hopefully that answered your question. And welcome to trading. All right. Do we got any other questions? Anything else you got before we go,
Yeah.
Coach?
Someone asked, what exactly should a trading plan have? All right. An entry plan, an exit, and risk management. How much you're risking on every trade. Should have a budget for how much you can lose in a day, which I suggest 12%. Don't have that 50% DLL. So if you have a $3,000 balance, you're 350 max. So divide those trades out if you want to take one trade at that, or three trades at 100, but that has to be consistent. So a plan, like you see us every day in an opening range breakout trade. That's an entry. Exit is defining the risk, accepting that risk. All right, or don't make the trade, and find consistency. And by the way, you're going to struggle. You are going to struggle.
What's the quote,
The
Coach?
idea is struggle well. Ray Dalio, one of the greatest investors of all time. Struggle well. But once you struggle well and you get consistency and you're managing your account, you're managing your drawdowns, not just trying to be right, you'll be on your way. All right.
Go.
I'll end it with that.
Got one more question here. From who's this from? Shubham. Question is, which songs have you sung on stage? Hey, there was some Post Malone song. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a good song. "Sweet Child of Mine" was one of them as well. There was like a feature verse on some Dua Lipa song that we did also. But this was my favorite one. Thank
You
you,
want to sing a
everyone.
few
Yeah,
bars?
go ahead, Coach.
Can you sing a few bars for us?
So they actually played the video on Topstep TV today of me at a corporate charity event singing a um with a company that I used to work with. They played the video on Topstep TV. So shout out to the internet who can find anything. Uh, so be careful
Why
what you.
didn't I missed that? That was on today?
Yep. Uh, yeah, it was on today. Uh,
What time?
Sometime during fast markets. I think it was around 10:30 ish or so. Uh, but yeah, they played a quick clip. Shout out to James, our producer at Topstep TV. He was very nice and probably picked the best that my vocals sounded that entire performance and played that part of the clip. James is a saint for doing that because he definitely had to scroll through like an hour long video to try to find that clip. But it was a lot of fun. My advice before we get out of here is if you get an opportunity to sing on stage in front of a bunch of people, do it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Let's end on that.
Let's end it on that. Trade well, everyone. Manage your risk. I'll talk to you all a little bit later. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.